My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. My behaviour, also addictive, as I went through my years of drinking, dependency, and then into addiction. So, complementary were work, relationships, trying to be perfect, never so. If I couldn't be perfect at one thing, I'd try to be perfect at another. And I didn't know I was doing that. I really didn't know, because I was looking to be right, just to feel right, look right, think right, be a part of, be included in life. And I wasn't very good at understanding that I had choices about how I would live my life. So often, when it came to work, I would be influenced by people asking me to do something, and I would please them by doing it, or pointing out how to do it better and more efficiently. And it served me well. And you know, if we keep on learning through experience, careers grow and grow, and then we find ourselves maybe at the pinnacle of a career and nowhere to go, and then or halfway there, and not quite sure if we want to keep on going with this particular one because we still have a gap inside. And similarly with relationships too, very good at starting them, not very good at keeping them going, simply because I was striving to be the ideal, and that influenced how I behaved. So if I couldn't be right, I would withdraw and change and do something else and keep on trying something else. So these days I've learned that there is balance in all life, and that I do have choices again how to live my life. So it's not driven by looking right or appearing right on the outside when the inside is all messed up. I don't take a drink on a daily basis. I don't try and take the edge off with a drink. And I've learned a lot in sobriety about what it is about life to make choice or choices on a daily basis of what is good for me and what I would like to do, beyond need and beyond want, just like. So the gift of recovery is we find ourselves one day at a time. It's on the road of destiny, not the road to destiny. We know what destiny is. So these days, less driven by fear, putting on a brave face, or ego, more driven by a bit of courage, faith and confidence to meet the day as it is. And what's helped me along the way? Well, family kept me alive long enough to get a moment of clarity, as did professionals, and that was when it comes to addiction, I cannot beat it on my own. I couldn't. Self-will kept me drinking, my thinking kept me drinking, and my feeling about life keeps me sober today, one day at a time. So as long as I know how I'm feeling, whether it's happy or sad, in love or not in love, or just as I am, just as my emotions are today, I can make some good choices based on what will be good for me next, to keep with courage, faith and confidence to keep on going. And I mentioned yesterday I was going to go to hospital for an appointment to get a checkup, which is all about diabetes, blood control, and goodness knows what else. Unfortunately, it was rescheduled because the department wasn't open yesterday. But that's all right. I've had all the tests done. All I need is the results. So a couple of weeks from now I shall go for them. And it didn't bother me either way. I'm just glad I rang up to find out before setting off. It's not too far. But you know what? In the old days, I guess, something which was not going my way, like another fatal malady, or potentially fatal malady, if I don't know what's going on, like type 1 diabetes, which I got in recovery, from a virus. Surprised me too, from a virus, and I live with it, and the reason why I can live with it is because I'm sober, and I'm not seeing the world as against me. I'm just seeing the world as it is, and my part in it. So I'm no bigger, no smaller, no more important or less important than anybody else. And you know, in recovery, we live a good life. That doesn't mean it's easy. It's never going to be easy. But we do say easy does it, because if we beat ourselves up for not being perfect, we'll be back on the drink in no time. So the gift for me these days is to keep a sober head, and when things aren't quite right and people understand how my head is working, I'm normally in a fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous. So I lean on fellowship, the whole of it, when things aren't going too good, and I lean on it when they're going good as well, because celebration can lead to a drink as much as sadness of life or frustration. So it's always there to be gone back to, and I don't. And as I say, the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous keeps me sober so the rest of my life can work. And I was reminded last night of just how difficult it can be to be in recovery when it's early days, especially the first Christmas, where we're very conscious that we're not drinking and the rest of the world might be. But in fact the rest of the world isn't drinking. Maybe half of it is, or maybe all the people we used to know or still know, because that's what they do, and they're not alcoholics. But if we are, a drink will do the damage, and it will lead back to a path of absolute desperation in no time flat. And two tragedies mentioned last night, one on, I think over the weekend, where a friend who had been in rehab with another person died because they went out for what they thought would be a good night out, and somebody else with a neighbour who had a long-term problem with drinking, and they said what a nice person they were underneath everything that they were doing to themselves, and there was nothing to stop them, and they were found dead. And that's not unusual. It's around this time of year when people go out for another go, forget that if you haven't been drinking for quite a while and you try and go back to the amount you used to drink, your body can't take it. So, sad news there. But the other part of that meeting was an affirmation that if we keep sober, life has every single possibility, every single feeling that we can possibly imagine, absolutely happening in reality right now. So we get to grips with what is happening today. And I will share the AA preamble. I've gone on a bit this morning, but yes, the AA preamble, the reason why I go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. The reason why I do these videos when people can't get to meetings, and I'm lucky, I have a lot of meetings around me, and I'm just checking the time. I've only just got time to do a little bit of the literature on this, the daily reflections, all about 12-step work and the 12th tradition, which is about anonymity being the spiritual foundation. And for me, anonymity provides the opportunity to find the truth of now. And truth for me is the absolute keystone of spiritual living, living in the moment of truth. So it says here, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. In other words, the truth is more important than a personality, and I absolutely agree with that. Tradition 12 became important early in my sobriety, and along with the 12 steps, it continues to be a must in my recovery. I became aware after I joined the fellowship that I had personality problems. I certainly did. So that when I first heard it, the tradition's message was very clear. There exists an immediate way for me to face with others my alcoholism and attendant anger, defensiveness, offensiveness. I saw Tradition 12 as being a great ego deflator. It relieved my anger and gave me a chance to utilize the principles of the program. All of the steps and this particular tradition have guided me over the decades of continuous sobriety. I am grateful to those who were here when I needed them. And that is the gift, really, that we are a fellowship and we are there when we are needed, hopefully. So, the serenity prayer to God, all good conscience. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me is always just for today.